Here we go. Merritt Centennials head coach and GM Luke Pierce is on the line with us. Luke, training camp obviously opens up on Sunday. It's a very busy time for you, so I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah, you bet, Brian. My pleasure.
So the big question going into camp, of course, everybody always wonders about roster turnover and that kind of stuff. It's a lot's been said about the number of returnees that you've got. What are you looking at in terms of numbers at each position?
Well, we're looking at 21 guys, and we've got our two goalies that are coming back. We think that's a real strength of ours. We've got probably going to end up with 4 returning defensemen, and Dylan Chanter added to that mix is 5, so we got a couple of holes there. And then up front, we're probably looking at really maybe 3-4 holes to fill, and but we'll see how the young guys push in camp here. And like we've talked many times, there's always room for changes to be made.
Now, in terms of your defensemen, you kind of opened a can of worms there, because if anybody looks at your roster right now, there are 5 on your roster, plus Dylan Chanter. What's the situation?
Well, Cam Crawford's actually down in Wenatchee right now, skating with the North American League team there. And
okay.
We gave Cam the permission to go do that, and have been in contact with the coach there. And we're going to, if hopefully things work out for Cam there. If not, we'll likely be finding him a place to play. Cam had expressed a desire for a change of scenery this year, and he understood that our 20-year-old situation was an issue, and he felt that he would essentially volunteer to be the guy that moves on. And Cam was a real good player for us here for 2 years, a great citizen in the town, and sometimes I think it's more a factor of, the group that he came in with and started with has essentially all moved on, and I think maybe he felt his time here had come to an end. So we're going to approach it right now that Cam is not a part of our hockey club, and we'll just work with the group that we've got coming in.
How about the players that you've got that are listed with Western Hockey League teams? Jacob Reichert, Reese Wilcox, obviously, and you mentioned Dylan Chanter, the fact that he hasn't come to your team just yet, but he's committed to you guys. Are these guys with their WHL camps?
Yeah, Jake is going to be in Victoria on Sunday. He's indicated us that he's going to come back here on Wednesday, and that he has no intention or desire to stay and play in Victoria, even if they do ask him to. Reese is gone. His younger brother Rhett is part of the camp in Portland, and he's down there with his family and has went onto the ice just to get some ice, but he will be back. And we've got some others too that Dylan at that camp as well, who is leaving Portland Sunday to be in Merritt for Monday.
Okay.
And there's some others that'll be arriving at our camp a little bit late that we've been recruiting who are also going to Western League camp. So it'll be a bit of chaos here for a few days, but we feel we've got a pretty good handle on it.
Now, you alluded to the fact you've got 2 returning goaltenders. Some would say the strongest duo in the league. What are your thoughts about the potential of these 2 guys going into this season? And what about a goalie that's coming into camp? What do they face?
Well, we're going to keep our camp just probably 4 goalies, including Lino and Tyler. And, it's by design that we don't want to flood the camp with goaltenders who realistically don't have an opportunity to play here right away at the beginning. We're going to get a good look. One of them's a 94 who we think is going to be a very good goaltender down the road, and the other one is a 92 who has played a little bit of junior in his past. So Lino and Tyler, we feel, are both legitimate starters in our league, and we're going to give them each the opportunity to fight for that job. And they're a pretty unique tandem in that they get along extremely well on and off the ice, and at the same time they're very competitive and each want the job. So we're going to let that play out early on and see where it comes from or where it goes to. And if we end up with the 2 of them throughout the whole year, as long as we can keep things pleasant here, that'll be a really comforting situation.
Now, how about the leadership core of your team? At this point last year, in fact, by June of last year, you had named Steve Tresera as your captain. At this point, nobody has been announced. So are you looking at that coming from one of the returning guys, or do you think that in the unlikely scenario that you might actually have a player play his way onto your team that ends up with a letter?
Well, I think that we've got an extremely great returning core of players who are all going to play a role in our leadership at some point, and we're going to, we have some people in mind that we think are, capable of taking that on. But we're going to wait and see, how they all come to camp, what they've done over the summer in preparing, and we're going to let our players be a major voice in who they select to lead that group. And we're comfortable with a lot of different scenarios there where, whether we do a revolving assistant captaincy and name more guys, or we're not exactly sure. But we're confident that with such a large group of returning guys that there is a really good core there that could all play a major role in our captaincy.
With the returnees and the guys that you've got coming in and recruited, I mean, you've made it no secret that it's a small camp. Is there a sense of urgency that you're going to convey to these guys with this team?
Well, there is and there isn't. I think we have to, stress, especially to the young guys coming in, that they have a short window of time to prove whether or not they can play in our league yet. We want to make some decisions on school-age kids prior to school starting, which only gives us a week to do so. With our veteran guys, there's some guys there that I think know that they have to prove once again that they're going to be contributors on our team. But as a group, I think what we want to do is stress that we have, a good 3 weeks to prepare for our opening weekend, and that we're going to be very diligent in the way we go about it. And we're not going to rush things. We're going to prepare properly, and we think that if we take the right approach to it, we'll have a significant advantage over our opponents when we get opened.
With the invitees that you've got coming to camp, along with your returnees, what sort of impresses you the most in looking at the 40-45 guys that you've got coming in?
I think right now the biggest thing is our character, and that we don't have to worry about what our dressing room is going to be like. We know that we've got a very competent group of returnees that know the system here, not necessarily just our on-ice system, but the way we operate and the way we expect our players to behave and conduct themselves. And that's a really comforting thing, because in the past we had to build that from the start, and you take some chances on some people, and you have to groom guys. And now we know that they're coming in, they know the expectations, and myself and the way we operate. So that's one big step that we can hopefully fast forward through and get right on to the things that really come down to winning hockey games.
Now, when you look at your younger players that have a year under their belts, you think of a Reese Wilcox and a Regan Sakila, Jacob Reichart, Tyler Steele. Are you excited about what these guys are going to do in their second year?
Yeah, we have, I would call it cautious optimism with all of those players. We've seen in the past, last year specifically, that we had a couple of players that we thought were going to be real impact guys for us in their second years, and they struggled. And, we took some measures in the off season to hopefully stop that from happening with, the expectations we set on guys in their training. And, we think all those players have an extremely phenomenal potential to be breakout guys in our league. And, but at the same time, we know that we can't just bank on that happening. We have to work towards that and help them in their second years that sometimes can be extremely challenging.
Do you think that with the guys that you've brought in, that your vets are really, honestly, and truly going to be pushed?
Yeah, I do think that. If not, then we did a bad job of recruiting, and I don't think that's the case. I think Joe has done an exceptional job since he's been on board. I think that because we had such a selective process that we were able to weed out guys that really didn't belong in camps, and now we've got a group that we think you could essentially make a couple of decent hockey teams with. And some of them are, admittedly too young right now to be ready to play, but will be very good players. And the other guys that are coming in, I think, are all ready to play in our league. And our older guys, our returning guys, are going to have to prove that they deserve to stick around because they've been around before and that they're capable of doing so.
So you wouldn't have any qualms with the decisions being made tough on you by the young guys and having to make a call on some of the vets?
Absolutely. We hope that happens. We're preparing for it. It's never an easy situation. I think we try to be extremely loyal to our players, and we use that as a way to hopefully get the most out of them. But, we have to also, think of the team as a whole, and we can't let loyalty stand in the way of us becoming a better hockey team. So we're prepared for that situation if it arises, and we're going to let that play out.
Now, how about, it's been a couple of years since there's been a player out of Merritt Minor Hockey on this team. You obviously AP'd a couple last season. Do you anticipate there being any local players in camp, and how many?
Well, I think of all the years that I've been here, this is probably the one year that we have some real legitimate players that could play on our team from Merritt. Peyton Schaefer comes to mind as a kid that he's already played a year at Junior B, and proved last year in some AP games that he can handle the pace of our level. Eric Schmidt has signed in Princeton with the Posse, but is going to come here and with the hopes of cracking our roster this year. And I've seen Eric play a couple of times over the summer, and he looks very strong. Brendan Coulter is also signed in Princeton with the Posse and is going to be in. Brendan might still need a year at Junior B to refine some things, but he's going to have an opportunity here as well. And again, Russell Sanderson is signed with the Chase Heat, and we think he's going to have a real bright future, and we won't see him in camp just because of the goalie situation we have, and he's settling into Chase and doing some team-building things there during the week of our camp. So we felt, and they felt, that it was more important that he be there. So, in the end, there's 4 guys, and I don't remember a time since I've been here that we've had that many that are that close to playing at our level. So there's others as well that are all going to have opportunities at some point, but those are the guys that really stand out right now.
And the fact that they've already committed to Junior B teams, do you see situations where even if they don't crack your main roster, that the AP situation is there for them?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Eric played for us last year when we had the suspension issues after the Salmon Arm fiasco, and acquitted himself very well. So we would see, if in fact he isn't able to stick with us right away, I think you'll see Eric back in Merritt quite a few times throughout the year, and perhaps on a permanent basis at some point.
All right, Luke, I know it's a busy time for you, obviously, with now you've got preseason coming up and a busy week of training camp and scrimmages. You've got your first inter-squad game coming up on Monday. Before I let you run, anything else you wanted to add about training camp?
We just want it to come. We're, to be honest with you, getting sick of all the preparation stuff, and we're excited to have the guys roll in on Sunday and get back started with another year of hockey here in Merritt on Monday morning. So we hope that people are able to come out and check out the future again and get excited